Before this episode of the Screenmen Society Podcast begins, there's something I need to let you know about. After being on a 3-month hiatus, the Screenmen have returned. But as you'll be able to hear, we are using brand new equipment in a brand new setting in a brand new environment. So naturally, for this first episode back, things aren't going to quite sound like they have in previous episodes. It was something I especially noticed while editing this podcast and will definitely stand out if you've listened to our previous episodes. After 3 months, things may sound a little rusty, but all I ask is that you bear with us as we continue to learn and improve with every new episode we put out. And with that in mind, please enjoy the return of the Society of Screenmen.
You're listening to the Screenmen Society Podcast, where nothing on screen will ever go unseen. Here's your host, Jack Clayton.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Screenmen Society Podcast. That's right, we're back after about 3 months. The Society of Screenmen are making their triumphant return to the internet, starting with a brand new episode here of the Screenmen Society Podcast that you just so happen to be listening to. Now, I'm sure you are all wondering where we've been, and we're going to get to that. But first, I have to introduce who we've got with us, and now with their official Screenmen titles. First off, we have our head gaming consultant, John Spurgeon.
Yeet.
Is that all you're going to give us?
He's just a dab and a yeet.
3 months, and that's all you give us?
Yeah.
A dab and a yeet?
A dab and a yeet. My intros are always really short.
Fair enough. And on my other side, we have our director of photography, Hamza Harwal. How you doing, buddy?
Woo!
Nice to be back.
Nice to be back.
I came dressed somewhat nice for this.
I did not dress
I'm
nice
such
for
a
this.
dick.
I
I'm
wore
such
my
a
GameStop
bad.
shirt.
And as always, I am your host, Jack Clayton.
Whoa, yeah, woo, what a cool guy.
Thank you.
Jack Clayton. Everybody give a round of applause for Jack Clayton.
No. Anyway, really quick, I do have to say, if you haven't noticed, we have grown a bit more here at the Society of Screenmen. You may have noticed that we are a few more places than available last time. Well, that's because this here podcast is now available wherever you listen to podcasts, including iTunes and Spotify. So you have absolutely zero excuse to not tune in. We were actually going to mention this on the last episode of the podcast, but that audio obviously corrupted, so we weren't able to put that out, which is really sad. That was going to be our Marvel Cinematic Universe rankings that we did. That was a good episode, too.
It was.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to keep that in. That also has to do with why we were gone for so long. Obviously, we are all a bunch of broke college students and really don't have the ability to buy equipment for us to use. So we've been lucky enough to use a room on college campus. Unfortunately, when the semester ended, they closed the room. Thank you for visualizing. That
I think I've got $3 in my wallet.
I have zero at the moment.
Yeah.
It's only
College students don't carry cash, though.
I sometimes do with tips from work, but
Yeah.
that's really it.
Stripper tips.
But yeah, when the semester ended, they closed the room down, so we were a bit out of luck. We looked at a bunch of different places, but nothing really worked for us as well as I had hoped for it to work. But now, thanks to the people over at Shocker Studios, not sponsored, we are able to start back up with a brand new setting, and that's pretty exciting, I think. I am no longer just on the soundboard. I'm actually at the table with you guys.
I'm really excited about this because I didn't know where Shocker Studios was before this.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Also, we are technically sponsored by Shocker Studios because they're letting us use this for free. So, sponsored, yes.
Shocker Studios.
Definitely
Shout
not.
out.
Go to WSU.
The better SS.
Wow. And
Not to be confused with the Final Reich.
okay. But you've heard enough of me talking, so let's turn it over to the rest of the gentlemen we have in the room and see what they've been up to on this little hiatus we have had. And Hamza, we're going to start with you.
Just like what I've been on.
What you been doing?
All right. So since the semester ended, I got a new apartment in June, so that was pretty exciting, and I've just been working a lot trying to pay bills. I've been working on a short film that will be starting filming soon. The script is almost finished. But yeah, filming will probably take a little bit of time, but the whole thing will be done by the end of the year.
That's a good goal to have. That's going to be a Screenmen Society production.
Yeah.
So our first ever real Society of Screenmen production. So That'll be exciting.
Yeah. A lot of us are involved in it. We got Jack working on the script. That's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to put anything else in, but it's gonna be good.
No, yeah. And John, what have you been up to?
I just got a job as a DJ, so that's been neat.
Oh yeah, you work at the same company.
I work as the same place as Hamza does.
Yep.
I do DJ now, so if you live in the Wichita area and you need someone to DJ your wedding, I'll do it, and I'll make your guests feel really uncomfortable. That's my only guarantee, though.
Do you play Old Town Road?
Only if it's requested by like 90 kids.
And is
Like
it
I have it has to be more than 5 kids. Like if it's 1 or 2, I won't do it because I hate it. Like the bride and groom has to say it, or the kids a bunch of kids have to say it, because it's like if one kid says it, everybody else is just gonna stand there and look at you like, why the hell did you play this? You ruined our day.
Yeah.
You ruined our wedding. And it's like, I won't play it unless I get made.
The remix to that, like right when it popped off, I had a wedding and the groom like suggested it, and then they just played it like 4 or 5 more times because he was like, play it again. And it was awful.
Bro,
like
it's so cringe too. And
That's
like everybody,
great.
all the old people hate it. They're like, stop.
They're just like,
Stop it.
stop.
I went to a wedding where the bride and groom requested Gold Digger by Kanye West.
Oh yeah,
no.
the
And-
explicit version.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
no.
And
yes.
so there were like 50 old people who were like, what are you doing? But the bride's dad loved the song, and he was like singing along and dancing with it, and it was hilarious. But also all the old people were like,
It's always
is that
good-
explicit?
It's always good when you piss old white people off and you're just like, got one back at you.
Oh yeah. I have been kind of doing the same thing, just working a lot at Starbucks, trying to find stuff for us here. The one big thing I've been doing is I've been assistant director on a student film with some students here, and it's been a really good experience. Never have done anything like that before, so I've definitely learned a lot from it. I don't know how much more filming we have left, but yeah, I'm really excited to see where that goes. If and when it's out, I'm not going to say if, when it's out, I will link it somehow so that you can support everyone who had a part in that film. So, yeah. Awesome. Well, now that we've pretty much got all the catch-up stuff out of the way, let's get into some topics. And the first one I have is something that we talked about in our group chat the other day. And yeah, we're just going to get into it. So, movies can be known for having some pretty disturbing stuff in it at times. A little too much to handle at times. And we were talking about what we thought was the most disturbing thing we've ever seen in a movie. And so I want to go ahead and bring that out now and just have that as a topic on this podcast is, what is the most disturbing thing you've ever seen in a movie or a TV show? And John, we'll start with you.
Tom Cruise's teeth.
Oh my god.
It's so disturbing how like the one in the middle is like, so it looks normal when you see it
I
from a
think
distance,
it's
and then when
not-
you line up his face, there's one like dead center in the middle.
I think it's not his like actual teeth are messed up. It's his like nose is a little bit crooked,
Yeah,
and it makes it look like that. But I feel you.
it's
That's
weird. It's so weird when you notice it. But to be real, the really most disturbing thing I think I've ever seen in a movie would have to be the Dark Crystal animations. If you guys have seen the Dark Crystal, which is a movie from when like we were kids, it has like some of the weirdest, like it's like I think it's kind of like I think it's a George Lucas movie, not like a George Lucas mainline movie, but like one of his Lucas Productions movies. I don't know if he was specifically in charge of
Didn't
it.
they just remake that on Netflix or something?
They're about to do it. It's super weird old movie. It was super good though, and I enjoyed it as a kid. But like some of the visuals in that movie, I can't remember one in specific, but there's like I think there's a guy who like, his soul gets sucked out of his body, and it's like a kid's movie with like these normal looking characters, and like this guy gets his soul sucked out of his body, and you're like, what the heck? So I think that's one of Hamza's showing.
Oh yeah.
It's got some really weird
have to
looking
show
characters, and it's like when I think back about it when I'm a kid. When I was a kid, it's like, oh, that was creepier than it was like Courage of the Cowardly Dog. Like it's not creepy to me now, but when I was a kid, that stuff freaked me out.
You were creeped out by Courage?
Dude, Courage the Cowardly Dog freaked me out.
freaked me out too.
I don't know why, and like I can't nail down a specific, but I think the fact that it had no music, like ever, like kids show not having music is
Wait,
weird.
did it really not?
No, it didn't.
It
was
never
just,
had
like,
music.
Wind.
Yeah, it would.
Really?
Yeah, so you'd be like in a normal scene, and there'd just be like this wind sound, and it was creepy because when you're a kid, you're like, there should be music in my kids' TV shows. You go from watching like the Looney Tunes, and there's like tons of music and loud sound effects, and they try to buff out all the awkwardness. But this movie was like, yeah, we're just gonna let it be awkward, and it's gonna terrify you, and it was a horrifying little experience for my little brain.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm glad that you went with an actual movie scene, because if you were gonna go with Tom Cruise's teeth, I would have been fine with that. But I was hoping we were gonna like talk about scenes, because the one that I picked is a little bit more recent. It's the suicide scene from John Wick 2.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even remember the one where she cuts her wrists open in the bathtub.
Yes.
Yeah.
That made me like
Yeah,
I
I
literally
remember
like
that.
vomited in my mouth.
Yes. Like I watched 13 Reasons, the first season, because I was writing a review for it.
Is it because you're a 12-year-old girl? What? I didn't say that. Love
No,
you.
very funny. No, I was writing a review for the community college I was at, their paper. And so I watched the first season. But that's like the one thing I didn't watch was that. But then I was watching John Wick 2 for the first time with a friend, and I did not expect that to come out of nowhere. And it did. And it wasn't one of those things where you could just skip or anything. It was just right there on his big TV. And yeah,
She's completely nude in a bathtub, and she slits her wrist, and it's like, oh,
No,
not for me.
And she goes deep.
Bro, and it's like
I
very like, and it sits there for like 5 minutes on her.
And they don't cut away from it. They show it.
Oh, it was rough. I think that scene was more like just gross than disturbing, because like I wasn't really disturbed. I was like, okay, she's a minor character. I don't really care about her dying. Right. But then I was like, that's gross though.
Yeah.
That's gross.
No, I don't do well with that kind of
stuff. And old lady nudity is also gross. Yeah. Not my thing.
At Game of Thrones season 6.
I have not watched any Game of Thrones, thank God.
If you know, you know. Hamza, we'll come to you now.
I would have to say last summer's Hereditary, just because I walked in thinking like, I don't like, this isn't like a big production, like it's an indie film, so I was like, this may or may not be good, but then I was like blown away at the end, and I was like, almost every scene just felt really gross, and especially towards the end with the events in the movie, it was disgusting. Like the mom cutting her throat with the with the string.
I couldn't speak to this one very well because I really don't watch horror movies.
Did you see Hereditary?
I have not seen a horror movie since. Actually, I don't think I've seen it. Unless you count Scooby-Doo as a horror movie.
Definitely not.
Dang.
So I've never seen a horror movie.
I love horror movies.
I avoid them like the plague. Like, I just don't like it. Like, it's
you
just,
don't like the
it's not worth my
uncertainty feeling?
I don't feel like it's worth my energy to watch something that just makes me feel like bored and gross.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I've never had a horror movie like make me feel anything exciting. I'm just like, I'd rather just be watching Star Wars or something exciting or something something that like pulls on my, aesthetic strings, like, Grand Budapest or something like that. Like something that is more thought provoking. Jordan Peele has done a good job, I think, with thought provoking horror, but it's
have
just
you
like
seen those at least?
I have not. I just know, like, from what I've heard. I mean, I really just I can't speak to horror genre at all. Me and Abel are on opposite ends of the spectrum here. Because
Abel's a horror fanatic. But yeah, we'll get back to yours the same. But I definitely want to talk with you about Hereditary because I remember seeing it and not having much expectation going in, and then the scene where the girl gets spoilers. Yeah. The girl gets the girl gets decapitated by a foam pole, whatever. Yeah. It was. That's when I knew that this movie was like completely.
Because like in the trailer, you're just like, oh, it's just like about a family and this like weird girl. You expect her
to be like the villain of the movie.
Yeah.
And then she just
head goes flying off.
Flying off. At that moment, I think I was like. What?
I think that's the thing about Ari Aster though, is he really brings that, like, even though he's only done like 2 big movies now, like you still like feel that from now on he'll like be like, you're gonna expect something that
you're gonna go in and expect one thing but completely. I haven't seen Midsommar yet. I definitely want to. I've been busy. Get off me. But actually, have either of you probably wouldn't, but it's not really horror. Have you ever heard of a short film called There's Something About the Johnsons?
I've heard.
Yeah, I heard of that, and I I'm trying to find it to watch it.
It's all on YouTube.
Oh,
the
really?
entire thing is it's about 20-ish minutes, written and directed by Ari Aster. The dude is messed up. So yeah, I would definitely check that out if you like Hereditary and Midsommar. But yeah, Ari Aster is definitely one of those people who is going to keep you on the, he's going to keep you on the edge of your seat with something messed up every time he does something new, and I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Have you guys seen those Neil Blomkamp shorts that he's been doing? I'm trying to remember I gotta look up.
Neil Blomkamp?
Yeah, he's doing.
The name sounds familiar.
He's doing these. Well, he's done a bunch of movies, but recently he's been doing these short movies under the name of.
Why does the name Neil Blomkamp sound so familiar?
He's doing. Hold on. Oh, it's called Oats Studios. Mm-hmm. He's done stuff like the Adam episodes, and then the one that really was interesting to me was Raqqa. They're super interesting short films.
What would I know Neil Blomkamp from? Because
he's done a ton of movies, but they weren't really box office successes.
Sure.
All kind of horror, all kind of disturbing. I think. Hold on.
Yeah, I can look it up too. I got a laptop right here.
Anthem, Conviction.
That's not what I'm talking about. He did that, but he got paid to do that. It's just because he did CGI well. He did District 9, Chappie, Elysium. Yeah, but
he directed these or wrote these or
he directed these.
Okay.
The most interesting thing I've seen him do though was definitely this Raqqa thing. Mm-hmm. It's super interesting. Like it's definitely worth a watch. At least his Volume 1 teaser trailer, which is the kind of the summarization of all the things he put out, was super interesting. He's a master in CGI. But his Raqqa was so weird. It's 21 minutes. It's worth a watch. But he's going to put out probably more episodes eventually. He's only got one episode out right now.
Okay.
And he's got about 5 different projects he started that he's trying to get funding to finish. So it's interesting.
Well, John, so since we haven't seen The Dark Crystal, why don't you tell us a little bit more about that? What is it that makes it so, disturbingly creepy?
It's honestly not. It's just the weird. It's kind of like it's just a hero's journey. It's standard hero's journey. It's not that interesting. The world's kind of interesting, but then the lore is it
kind of looks like what's the movie with David Bowie? I've completely blanked. Labyrinth. Yeah, it kind of looks like that. I haven't seen it though, but
I think Lucas did the puppetry for that one as well, or was that one Henson?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It was definitely an interesting movie. It's worth a watch.
Are you gonna watch the Netflix one when it comes out?
Probably, just because it'll be a little bit nostalgic for me.
It looks like they're doing the same thing with puppetry and whatnot, from what I've seen of it.
Yeah, they would be mistaken to not. I think if they tried to animate it, it would be bad. So I'm hoping they stick with puppetry. But I don't know. It's not crazy interesting. As a kid, I watched it once. So obviously, if you watch a movie once, if you watch a movie only once when you're a kid, it means you don't like it, because movies you watch 100 times. That's why we've all seen Star Wars 5,000 times.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah. I think with the whole suicide, it was just something that you wouldn't expect to see in a movie like John Wick, especially after the first one, where it's just a lot more action driven. Mm-hmm. Now it's something that just comes out of the window, and I think that's what really makes for a good disturbing moment, especially with the John Wick moment and in Hereditary. It's something that just comes completely out of nowhere, nothing what you're expecting, and I think that was definitely the case for the two that we picked, and so those are two really good moments of disturbing.
Yeah, I didn't really have that many options just because I don't watch horror films. I was I don't really. I was thinking about it last night. I was I really don't have any thoughts, so that was what I had.
That's fair. Well, all good disturbing imagery. And we're going to keep on going. But before we do, I do want to give a bit of a preview as to what's coming up for the next episode. This isn't going to be something that we do every time, I don't think. But with us kind of getting back into the swing of things, I think it'll certainly help. So the next episode, we will be finishing up our Best Directors Tournament. If you don't remember, a few episodes ago, we started a March Madness-style tournament to determine who we thought was the best film director. And we're going to keep continuing it. We were trying to continue it through episodes for a little bit of continuation, but that obviously didn't work. So I speak for everyone, I think, when I say that it's better to just finish what we started. And so be sure to look out for that episode coming soon. I don't know exactly when it'll be, but that is 100% going to be what next episode is. So be sure to look out for that.
I forget who even is still around. I'm sure Steven Spielberg is.
Who's around. But
I'm
I know
sure
that I
Steven
was given
Spielberg
a
is.
phone call the last time.
That's right.
And I was in the middle of something, and they were just like, Scorsese or Tim Burton, I think.
Right.
And I just picked.
I'm still
Pretty sure I
mad.
picked
I'm still mad that
Scorsese.
Wes Anderson's out. I mean, I'm still mad.
Well,
But we'll
You guys cut
we'll
Wes
figure it.
Anderson?
They
to
cut.
who?
No, I didn't cut him. I was out. I was not there that day, and they cut Wes Anderson to
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
It was Mel Brooks.
Bro, Mel Brooks has got one good movie.
That's not true.
Anderson's like 6.
It's funny you
If
mentioned...
I wanted to watch Fantastic Mr. Fox or Young Frankenstein, I'm probably going to watch Young Frankenstein.
Wow, that's hurtful.
It's funny that you guys say you don't remember who is in that, because you can actually, along with everyone else who's watching and can't remember, you can actually look on our website, www.thesocietyscreenmen.com, and there will be a section there with the full bracket. And you can also go ahead and follow us on social media at Screenmen SOC on Twitter, or like our Facebook page, because all of it will be there already, and it will continue to be there. We'll put the full bracket up everywhere once it's done. But yeah, if you can't remember where we're at with that, go ahead and check out www.thesocietyscreenmen.com, and that's going to be where everything is for that.
And
So
also on our social medias, just make sure to check out for shirtless pictures of Jack, because those are out every other week.
definitely not. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the next topic. This is something that I planned for us to talk about before the last podcast stopped, so it seems like a good time to bring it up now. VR, it's a pretty cool thing, I would say, especially in video games nowadays. And more often now, you can play games you're familiar with in VR. Would you say that's true, John?
That's
Our gaming
true.
Consultant?
That's true, John.
Okay. So that goes ahead to beg the question: what game would you want to see in VR that already hasn't been put in VR? And so, John, we're going to start with you.
All right, big answer here. Fortnite VR. No, but a really exciting one. I mean, VR is kind of a thing that is so iffy, because every time I say, man, this game would be so cool in VR, they do it and then it sucks. And you're like, okay, well, that was lame. Because like Doom, if you guys know what Doom is, I was like, oh man, it'd be really cool if they made a Doom game in VR. Then they made a Doom game in VR, and it's like the worst. So it's got to be put in the right hands. It's got to be done by the right people. But I really think that if someone could nail a Spider-Man game in VR, it would be pretty awesome. PlayStation's already got the PSVR going, and they already have the rights to Spider-Man as a superhero, so it wouldn't be a difficult thing to get done. And also, they already have a Spider-Man game out. So if we move into this PS5 generation, they release their new set of headwear, which they're going to. A Spider-Man game could be super cool in VR, but it also depends on needing a bigger camera space and kind of better motion controls than they have now. But web swinging as Spider-Man could be super fun, and also feeling like you're flying through the sky when you're just standing there. It's actually something that can be done. If you guys haven't played, there's a rock climbing game, which doesn't sound fun, but it's honestly the best VR game I've ever played. It's just like a free rock climbing game.
Do you know what it's called?
I forget what it's called.
Okay.
It's called like...
It's not that hard to find.
No,
it's really fun.
You can go to Best Buy, and they have demos for it when they have their VR set out. And that's actually how I got into VR. But if they could nail down the feeling, like that game nails down the feeling of just being high up in the air and like falling, or like being really, stranded in the air with Spider-Man, but also giving that weight and momentum of Spider-Man swinging, I think it could be super fun. But it'd be a hard thing to nail, so it'd have to be done by somebody who knows how to do VR well. So.
Right. All right, Hamza, we'll go ahead and go to you next.
I'm gonna say Saw, because I think just walking around, like, I know you're not a fan of the horror genre, but like, if you're just walking around a house, and most of us have seen the Saw movies, walking around a house and you just like get trapped in a room, and you have to like, they can make it to where you have to like do things. It kind of makes a decision for you, and then you get trapped in this, and it's like, I don't know, just the feeling of being in Saw would be terrifying to people, because we've all been like, oh, what if I was doing that? Well, here's your chance. Like, you can go through with it. They can make it really grisly and bloody if they wanted to, but I think that would be really fun to do.
Horror is really easy to do in VR, and actually it's probably the best thing to do in VR because like the one game that's kind of horror that I've played was like I played the Brookhaven experience. One of my friends had it on his PSVR, and he was like, you should try this game. So it's like this shooter, and there's like zombies, and you never know what direction they're coming from. Mm-hmm. But like literally just hearing any sounds makes me freak out when I'm in it. It's like they're all around you, but it's like it's not that scary because it's just like a zombie game where you're shooting zombies. But it freaks you out to hear any zombies because you're like, are they going to touch me in real life? So I think a Saw game in VR could be really creepy.
Yeah, VR is definitely the easiest thing to do. So mine is also a Sony title, I guess you could say. Growing up, I really enjoyed the Sly Cooper games. Like Sly 2 is probably in my top 5 favorite games of all time. I really enjoyed the last one as well. So I don't think I have a specific one, but I would definitely like to see a Sly Cooper game in VR, just because of the art style that they have in the games. It's goofy and whatnot, but I think that kind of the kind of gameplay that you have in there, I think would be kind of interesting to see in VR because in third person you see a lot more when you're having to sneak around, but in first person.
Yeah, but if you're not seeing Sly. If you're not seeing your boy Sly in front of you and you're not hearing his quips, or it's you having to say the quips.
You're still hearing his quips.
Well, you have to be then it's you, the quips are coming out of you.
Well,
I guess that's Spider-Man too, though.
Yeah.
So,
if you remember, you do see Sly, though, like in the binocular cutscenes that they have when he puts down the binocular and he's talking with Bentley.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, you do. I mean,
Bentley VR. You get the, like, what's the guy who's always at the computer in Spider-Man Homecoming when he says he's like the computer guy?
Oh, Ned? Yeah.
The desk guy.
Guy in the chair.
The guy in the chair. You could be the guy in the chair for Sly Cooper. You're like his, Sly, they're coming up on you, behind you. And then, that works pretty well in VR too because, it's not a whole lot of crazy, outlandish motions, but...
It is funny that you did choose Spider-Man because at E3 they did announce that they're doing an Iron Man VR.
Yeah, who cares, man? And it was like a terrible voice actor, and the combat looked like poop. That's the problem with VR because they're like, let's make Studio Dave. It's one guy with he knows how to code. Woo, Dave. Dave, make this game that's Iron Man. Dave's not going to make anything. We need a real studio on my Spider-Man game. We need Hamza Harwell as our director.
Would you go with Sony? Would you trust Sony to do it?
Sony doesn't do games. Sony hires out studios.
Okay.
I would get Insomniac because Insomniac made Spider-Man.
Right.
And Spider-Man was slaps.
I'm still playing it.
Oh, yeah. So am I. I've mentioned many times on this podcast.
I'm trying to 100% all the areas. Like I have got because the crime missions are always hard. Like,
you just gotta stay in the area.
I know, but it takes forever to do. Like, to get all the crime missions done. You have to be in the area for like an hour just to get all the crime missions.
Yeah, you don't just do that?
No, I'm trying to, like, I have 100 on like 5 areas. I have 4 areas to go, so I'm trying to get the other areas
Just
done.
wait till you get to New Game Plus and you have to do it all again.
Oh boy. I'm not going to do New Game Plus. Once I get the areas done, I'm done.
Fun, but yeah. Is there
nothing. I'm just listening.
No, is there a Saw game out already?
I have no
I
clue.
hope
I feel like if there
It's
is
just
one,
Outlast.
It's shitty.
Outlast is...
It's just Outlast. Outlast is just Saw, except it's more
Basically.
culty. And
Outlast is a really good game, though.
Outlast is the only good horror game. No, yeah,
Well,
Resident Evil's probably
It was
good too.
Outlast or Spider-Man, and I don't usually play games at night, or I usually play games at night, and I feel like I wouldn't want to play that at night, so I just got Spider-Man.
Can we talk about real quick how big of a disappointment Outlast 2 was?
I have not played Outlast 2, so I can't talk about that.
It's gameplay-wise, it's a lot cleaner, but story-wise...
You don't get your fingers cut off. That's the whole
Dude.
fun of the first one. Getting all
true.
your fingies cut off.
Dude, Outlast, the first one...
Bro, Outlast would be straight up creepy as a horror game.
I mean, it is a horror game.
As a VR game, because you couldn't get your actual fingies cut off, so...
Unless they do some weird technological thing in the future where, like, it does cut off your fingers.
Making, like, advancing VR, they should take away the handheld controls and make something for your fingers.
Kind of. Is it kind of like those 4D movies where you like smell things, but it's like a glove which like stimulates like pain or something?
I'm
Is that
so
what you're
confused
saying?
on that
Just
tie.
kinda
Like
do you
4D
remember that
where you
gadget
smell
they
something
had
but with
in-
fingers.
That gadget they had in Spy Kids
Yeah,
where it kind of
that's
got
what I'm
on your
talking about,
hand.
yeah.
Just have that with fingers, maybe like a thing on the back of your hand,
Yeah.
just so you can like.
I think the only real next step for VR, the step that actually makes VR something that people want to do.
Yeah.
Because like right now, people are like, yeah, it's fun. I'll do it once a year. You know, it's like it's not something you're gonna do consistently. Like it's a novelty. To make VR something that people want to consistently do, they have to get room VR technology. Like
What do
where
you mean
you
by
are in a room,
Yeah.
there's
It's designed
foot track
specifically.
pads, like everything about it makes you feel like you're in the environment, like in like it's a specific okay, so you're in this fake mission, here's a toy prop gun, go assassinate this
Yeah.
guy, or you're Spider-Man and you're flying through New York City and the whole room, like you're not actually wearing goggles, or you're wearing AR goggles in a room. I don't know. I think it's a long step before they can really nail VR
Sure.
to where the point where it's actually good.
I
Because
think-
I don't think VR is that people say VR is the future, but I really don't see VR being the future unless they can make it more convenient. Like no wires. Where Oculus is going with the Oculus Quest, where it has no wires on it, is the first best step, because wires are, and having to plug your VR into anything is an annoyance. Like having just a free headset, that's the best way to do it. So
I think we're at like Xbox One level of VR, so it'll take a bit.
Would you say that the end goal for VR is like something out of Ready Player One? Where,
Yeah,
you have that full
probably.
Stimulus?
yeah, probably. I would say it's somewhere at if you've played Call of Duty, I forget which one it is, Ghosts. Your training missions are all in like a VR set, or like Titanfall. You're all in a VR where you feel like it's actually you doing these missions, but it's not. It's just like a guy who can get shot, and then you're like, you wake up. But so probably I haven't seen Ready Player One, so I
Really?
can't relate.
It's a really
Yeah,
good movie.
when movies get 40s on Rotten Tomatoes, I usually just
Okay.
don't waste my time.
Okay. Calm
Wrecked,
down,
wrecked,
Mr. Game
wrecked.
Consultant.
Wrecked.
But no, that I do
Wrecked.
I do want to ask though, what other than making more wireless, what are some steps you would want to see developers take in making VR more like that, more advanced? Basically, what do you want to see them do to take the next step into VR?
Well, I really think the final step into VR is like, and I hate this because I hate these places, but like a place you go. So you're like, I got to go to, I don't think it's a household item for a long time, long time, to where it's like super effective, because I think the best way to do it right now is to have specific rooms for it, where you go in, the walls move with you. There's a treadmill kind of thing going on the ground. You move, you run, it's you. It's totally you. You're totally immersed, and you're totally in this world. That's the only way where I can see VR being like actually a medium of good entertainment. Because right now VR is like, it's just not a consistent enough thing. Like you'll never meet anyone who says, yes, I play my VR once a week or every day. Like no one plays their VR that much, because it's just not something that people are like super invested in. But I think if you get full immersion, when you get to that step of full immersion, like Ready Player One or Spy Kids 3, you're going to be at the point where people will want to do it more. But then it's going to be a thing where you have to go like to a escape room. It's like somewhere you have to go.
They had a place like that a few years ago here in Wichita, Fire Shark Gaming.
Yeah, that place sucked though. That place was like, you're a robot on this big city, and the city's the floor, and you
Yeah.
got to step on the ships, and
I
it's
remember
like,
that. Funny that you brought up.
it's a
same-
first step though. I honestly do think it's a first step. So
Yeah, it's funny that you brought up the same movie twice though.
Have you guys,
Ready Player One and Spy Kids 3.
before it got turned into Popcorner, did you guys go to Battle Stations Gaming?
no.
No, but it was right by my old house,
Yeah.
and so I was really disappointed that I never got to go there.
Popcorner.
It's like a
Yeah,
popcorn place.
Popcorn moved from Andover to where Battle Stations Gaming is now, right by where the QT on Greenwich and Central, right across the street.
I know where it is, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know.
it's just
It
you
just
like.
sells popcorn.
You mean Popcorner or Battle Stations Gaming?
Battle Stations.
Oh,
Gaming.
you just walk in, pay like $10 an hour, and you can play any game.
Yeah.
Oh,
on
nice.
any console.
Oh, that's like they have a bar.
They have
Headshots.
Headshots, yeah.
I have not been to Headshots, but
Yeah,
I
It's
really want to.
super lame.
Is it?
Shout out to Headshots being super lame. If you're watching this and you're like a person who goes to Headshots, that place is lame. It's
Why is it lame?
Okay, because if
Okay.
you own any of those games, if you own literally any of those games, you can save yourself the trouble of going into a place with horrible food that smells like fat, sweaty nerds 24/7.
Yum.
Like, it smells like vintage stock 24/7, and the food is terrible. So it's like, yeah, if you want to risk being super uncomfortable, then yeah, it's worth it. I don't know. Like, you can play games, but they're not old games. So it's like, if you own a PS4, you can play that.
I'm really glad I didn't tell Riley to go there with me because I was like, let's go to Headshots because
Me and my girlfriend got free passes, and we got free food, and it, like, I was like, even for free, I'd rather go home.
Yeah.
I just was like, I just want to go home and play my Switch. I want to play Mario Kart at home.
I'm gonna wrap that up. Let's go ahead and move on to the final topic, unless you have anything left you want to say on the topic of VR.
Make Spider-Man VR. Do it Insomniac, please.
Okay,
Or Ratchet and Clank VR. That'd be cool too.
that'd be pretty cool. Yeah. All right, let's get on to the final topic. I want to look a bit into the future. We here on the Screenmen Society Podcast, since day one, I'd like to say, have tried to keep things a little bit more positive when it comes to things. Like, we try to look at the upsides of things. I'd like to think that we try to do that. But I want to switch that up a little bit. I want, for this topic, I want to ask, what is an upcoming film, the rest of 2019, that you are most cautious about? And I'm going to go ahead and start us off. And mine is Joker. And now, it may seem like it's because I'm a Marvel fanboy that I'm pitting against a DC movie, but that's not really it. It's weird because this movie is 2 years ago would have been a movie no one would actually have thought was being made, but comes out in October, and the weird thing about it is there's already so much like award buzz for it for like best picture, best actor, best director, and whatnot. It's so weird that it hasn't screened. I mean, there's been a few things. We've seen a trailer. I think there's supposed to be another trailer coming out soon. But it's already getting so much buzz for awards. But the thing that I'm concerned about is there was a quote, and I can see if I can find it, but I'll let you guys go first. There was a quote that really made me question how good this movie is going to actually do. And while I find it, I'm going to turn over to Hamza. Go ahead and give us a movie that you are most cautious about the rest of 2019.
Since I'm a fan of horror movies and I pretty much study them, I'm going to say Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark because every trailer I've seen has been good, but I feel like as like a couple more trailers come out, it's just going to get like you're just going to realize, oh, this might be one of those movies where you just walk in and you're excited and you leave unsatisfied.
Yeah.
Even with like how good the CGI is and the costumes and whatnot and like how they make it feel. I haven't even read like this book from it, but I don't know. I want it to be really good, but I don't think it will be.
Here's the thing with that is, we'll get into John's here in a second, is for months they had built it up that, oh, it's from Guillermo del Toro, which initially got me super excited for it.
Yep.
But then when the first trailer came out, it said that it was just produced by him. I was like, oh. Like, if it was directed by Guillermo, I would have been, like, all in.
It's such a letdown.
But I also don't feel like Guillermo will throw his name on a crap movie.
I mean, he's done it before.
He has? I don't know anything about Guillermo.
But
except for that fish movie, it was terrible and everybody said it was good. Sorry, what?
Anyway, yeah.
Fish?
I definitely agree.
No, it's Tim Burton.
No, it's Tim Burton.
I'm talking
thinking
about
of Shape of Water.
That movie was butts. Like,
did
straight.
You even see it?
I did see that one because I was like,
one?
all right, it won the Oscar. It's got to be somewhat good. And I go in and it's like
Sex with the Fish.
sex. It's like hair sex from. You know what movie it was? It was just Avatar with fucking fish. Freaking fish.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't seen it, but
I started watching it, but
It was so bad, and everybody's like,
it
Guillermo
was- I
del
was
Toro's a genius, and I was like, this movie
He
is
is.
so dumb.
he is, and I was actually enjoying it, but something was going on with like our dish that night. I think it was raining. When
Someone
we
was
watched
going on with literally doing anything
But
besides
yeah,
watching that
Well,
movie.
we'll get into yours a little bit more. I found my quote, but John, I want to get to you. What is the movie you are most cautious
You
about?
guys
this
took
2019?
all the options because like every single other option looks terrible. So like it's like I could say I'm cautious about it, but I know Cats is gonna be awful. I know Terminator is gonna be awful. Frozen 2, the first one was awful, so I don't even have to wonder about that one. The
Yeah, pick
only
one.
one that I said like I thought looked good when I saw the trailer, but I definitely see there being problems with is the new Zombieland movie.
No, don't say that.
Why? You
'Cause
think it's gonna
I'm
be
really
terrible?
No,
Oh.
I'm really excited for it.
I'm excited for it, but it's a sequel to Zombieland, so it's like.
But
It's like the first Paul Blart Mall Cop. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a fun movie.
it's about
The
to be like
second
Dumb
one,
and Dumber 2.
the second one was a waste of time.
you liked Paul Blart Mall Cop?
Dude, the first Paul Blart Mall Cop is a funny movie. Like, I'm not gonna.
I forgot there was a second one.
I-
honestly.
I
They go
remember
on
seeing the
vacation,
second
don't
one.
they, on that one?
I remember my parents made me go see it, and I was like, oh my gosh, the first one was funny, but this one is causing me physical pain. Like, I was writhing in pain. It was like someone burned me. Oh my gosh.
I will
But
say-
I do feel like Zombieland 2, Zombieland 1 was a really funny, really like
Oh, yeah.
awesome, just badass movie. But
Yeah.
Zombieland 2 seems like it's taking that and just saying, let's just
switching it out.
do it again.
I will say, I was concerned for a while about it just because it also comes out in October and it's just about August and we hadn't really seen a trailer for it or anything. But then the trailer dropped last week and I liked it. I really liked it. I'm really excited for it. I think that it could be really funny. I think it's directed by the guy who did the first Deadpool movie.
I think it's just gonna be like you show up and you're like, I loved the first one, and there's just gonna be like jokes from like the first one. You're just
Maybe.
gonna be like, this is us. Like I don't want to watch.
You know what it could possibly
They got to do a Deadpool 2 because
'Cause, like,
Deadpool
in the-
2 was good.
In the
Deadpool
trailer, they
something,
had Woody Harrelson,
Harrelson. Yeah.
sorry, making just like a bunch of jokes, and you already know it's just about half the movie is just gonna be him
Probably.
cracking stupid jokes.
You know what I could honestly see it being like is the sequel to Now You See Me, which Now You See Me 1 is one of my favorite movies. I really like that one. So I was really excited for the second one, and it was kind of underwhelming. So I get where you're coming from, where it could be a little underwhelming, but I don't see it being a bad movie.
And I want to say that the surprise of the year is Spies in Disguise.
I don't think
DreamWorks is putting out this Will
Oh,
Smith
that's right,
Spies in
yes.
Disguise animated
that movie
movie.
has been in production for God knows how long.
Honestly, though,
the trailer for it came out last year.
I'm going to go on a limb and say that's going to be the next Shrek.
No.
Yes, the next Shrek. Let's
No
go.
way.
Spies in
well,
Disguise is
I
the
did
next Shrek. Let's go.
I did find the quote that really has made me concerned for Joker. And it is this. It's a quote from the movie. It's from Joaquin Phoenix's character, Arthur Fleck, a.k.a. Joker. And the quote is, "Better the blind man who pisses out the window than the Joker who told him it was a urinal. Know who the Joker is? It's everybody." And to me, that quote just sounds like something out of Suicide Squad.
That sounds mad cringe right there.
It does. And pair that with all the buzz that it's getting, and of course you have people like, oh, it's going to cancel the MCU, which is obviously not. But pair that with the...
DC fans, every time a DC, this one's going to cancel the MCU, you guys watch.
It's true. With Shazam, that was exactly what happened, and obviously...
Shazam was an alright spinoff.
I
Like
agree.
an alright,
I
not.
agree.
It was funny.
It was funny. It was a
But-
lot of fun.
But if there's a Shazam 2, no one's going to.
I'm not gonna lie, I would rather watch any DC movie than any Marvel movie. I am not even joking.
That's a big rip.
But that's
That's
a
your-
conversation for another
I
day.
do
That's
disagree.
just your opinion. At least you are more respectable about it than Kevin is, but he's not here. So yeah, just pair that cringe quote with all the buzz that it seems to already be getting. And that concerns me. I don't know what to expect. I've read a few things about like plot-wise what may happen in the movie, and just you pair all that together and it just is a buzz for concern.
Dude, I don't read any of that. I don't read articles about movies because
I didn't
I
even
don't
read
either.
articles about
No
it. It was
one
just a
can.
leak in the script as to what kind of causes his character to turn into the
But
Joker.
you had to read an
I feel like the
article
most
to read
memorable movies are ones you walk into and you're just like,
that. Blind.
I've seen a little bit of a trailer, let me see what this movie's about.
All I'm saying is no one thought Shrek was going to be good. Because it was
Dude,
a movie.
I didn't think Shrek was good the first time I watched it.
Oh
But I
my
was like
gosh.
6.
Okay.
Yeah, and
But like
now
it's a movie
now
about a
it's- yeah.
green ogre. Like, oh, this is good. This is like if we saw that, we'd think of Trolls. That
Yeah.
awful kids movie Trolls. That's what I'm saying though. Spies in Disguise, we're all like, it's Will Smith. He's had 2 crap movies in a row. Let's go number
You're
3.
talking about Aladdin?
Yeah, Aladdin and
Yeah, he's got Aladdin. He's got Gemini
Man.
Man.
I'm
and
actually
this.
Gemini Man looks cringe.
Yeah.
But
I
I
don't
do
know.
think this is
I
gonna
kinda-
be. I think Will has to have one movie that's not cringe, and this is gonna. Spies in Disguise is Despicable Me 3, the best Despicable Me movie, hands down.
I never even saw the
I haven't seen the third one either. It was a joke.
Follow that up with Bad Boys Forever.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
those
yeah.
that is what's the movie? The little kids, the 3 little kids movie.
Oh, Good Boys.
Yeah, that movie looks so dumb.
Yeah.
That
We'll-
movie.
We'll find out.
Thanks, Seth Rogen, for literally laying crap all over our tables all the time.
Thanks for ruining the innocence of Jacob Tremblay, or however you say his name, the kid from Room. But yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Let's go back to what you were talking about a little bit too. I knew that for a while there was just a few teasers here and there, and there was
Yeah.
the one poster, and that's what really gets you. Is like it says from visionary director Guillermo del Toro, and I think that's exactly what it says, and that makes you think, oh snap, he's directing it. But then the first trailer came out, and I was like, okay, this looks pretty good, and then it says produced by Guillermo del Toro. I was like, ah, and I don't know. There was a lot of I had a lot of excitement for it when I thought that he was at the directing helm.
Mhm.
And that's not to disrespect whoever is directing it now. I honestly don't know who it is. But I don't know. There's just something about it where they hyped it up to say, hey, it's his movie and that's what it's going to be. And I think that's what excites a lot of people, especially people who like Guillermo del Toro's work. And then you find out that he's producing it, and it's someone who I didn't recognize. So there's every chance that it could be good.
I think
but
it will be good. I just don't want to see any more trailers about it. I don't want to see 3-minute trailers like those. Those trailers ruin like the whole movie for me because you see like scenes and you're like, this was in the trailer, and you just kind of sit through it.
All right, let's go. Let's get the Rotten Tomatoes ranking right now. Whoever's closest gets a
Gets a $5 gift card to some
gets a $50 Amazon gift cards up on the
Gets a
screen.
fucking whale in their backyard.
Okay.
No, but yeah, let's go ahead, go around one more time. Everyone, give me one more reason why you are most concerned about your movie. John, we'll start with you.
Most concerned about what movie did I pick?
Zombieland.
Zombieland, because it doesn't have whoever died last time.
Bill Murray.
It doesn't have Bill Murray.
That's okay.
No Bill Murray. No Will Murray.
That doesn't make it.
Also, I think Scary Stories is a 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's my guess. I'm gonna.
Are we gonna actually do
I
that?
think we should. I don't know why
I
we
think
would.
it's gonna be,
Actually, yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to.
52.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be good, but I think critics are gonna say it's like 35.
Whoa.
Between 35.
Well,
and
yeah,
40.
horror movies are either 90
And
or
it's a
0.
It's a monster movie. Think about like monster movies are so easy to make, but like they're hard to make too to like get like good criticism out of it. So I'm gonna say it's gonna do bad, but I want it to do good.
Sure. I don't know. I'm not gonna do this Rotten Tomatoes thing because I will be 100% wrong. I don't know where. It's so hard to say what they.
Do it.
No, no,
For Scary
Joker
Story-
will be good. Even if the story isn't good, just like how it's shot
Sure,
will be good.
probably. I'm just concerned about some writing things. I think that'll be the biggest thing.
I
for me
think
going
the
in.
last Joker we had was Jared Leto,
Yeah.
and that was atrocious in my opinion. So I think people will want like refreshing from like the emo
Who is it now?
weird
Who is it now?
Joaquin
Joaquin
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
I don't
Who
even
is
know who
crazy?
that is.
He was in Signs, her
Gladiator.
Gladiator.
Oh, I've seen Gladiator. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I know.
if you know him from
The
Gladiator,
The Master's a really good movie.
if you know him from Signs or Gladiator, then it makes sense that he's playing the Joker because Joaquin Phoenix is crazy. And the first trailer that came out, I actually really liked the first trailer for it, but it was just that line and some writing things that just concern me. But I guess we'll see in October.
DC knows how to crash
It didn't
and burn,
really
so
give
we'll
away
see.
like
It
much
doesn't.
of the story. It kind of just showed you like this like visuals.
It was a lot of visuals.
Yeah.
And the visuals look really good.
I think it's gonna be a lot of visuals with a kind of loose story, but I think the story will have some kind of like under meaning.
Sure.
But I think it'll be good. I'm optimistic for it.
It'll have some sort of underdog. Wait, what was that? You guys remember that movie, Underdog?
No, but like the quote said, it's like everyone's the Joker. Like
Yeah, and that's just what concerns me. That sounds like a line out of Suicide
They're gonna have
Squad.
like everyone's the Joker, and then like Dave Matthews from the Dave Matthews Band steps up. I'm the Joker.
All right.
Steve
Well-
Buscemi. I'm the Joker. Do you think God?
Do you think God stays in heaven because he too is the Joker?
oh my god.
And then it's God. It goes up to God. I'm the Joker too. You know who else is the Joker? And then he points to Satan. Satan's, I'm also the Joker. The whole movie is just everyone ever in popular media saying that they're the Joker. And it ends like the last person is like Captain America.
He's like,
And
"You're the Joker."
he rips off his Captain America face and it's the Joker.
He's like, you're the
Lucky
Joker.
figure.
All right, well, that is going to be it for today's episode of the Screenmen Society Podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you especially for tuning in to our comeback episode. This is our first podcast back, and I think I can speak for everyone here and not here in terms of how excited we are to be back.
Check out our Patreon.
We
Please
don't have a
donate money.
Patreon yet.
Oh, shoot.
Yet.
Yet. When we do, check out our Patreon. Give us money.
Yeah, it's a brand new setup. I kind of like it a little bit more than our old one. It's weird. I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning, but when we recorded the old one, I was never at the desk with you guys. I was always manning the soundboard and just had a mic only there.
Yeah.
But for this one, I get to actually be here with you guys. So that's pretty exciting. So yeah, normally I give you guys a chance to plug whatever you guys have going on, which we're going to do. But I think I also want you guys to tell me something that you guys are looking forward to most moving forward with Screenmen. So yeah, Hamza, you got anything to plug?
I'm definitely looking forward to like I love like making videos or just like short films. I definitely want to keep doing that, and I'm already working on that. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to more video work. And follow me on Instagram, HZ Films, and YouTube, HZ Films as well.
John?
I'm looking forward to doing these lists. I'm doing lists for the articles now, for my articles, because I like doing lists. The first list I'm doing is the Marvel Cinematic Universe list. So the list we came up with, the list we all agreed on, that list will be the first list I post. It'll kind of give a short summary of what we talked about that day.
Do you remember most of that?
Well, I have it written down, or
Okay.
one of us will have it written down. Somebody
I
will
have
have it
it.
written. I
I
can
have it
find
written.
it.
Yeah.
But I'll have that up within a couple weeks. So if you guys want to check out lists are cool.
And Wallow Gaming, got anything big coming up with that?
No, I'm trying. I keep making videos and they're cringy, so I just delete them.
You should definitely keep doing them. But
Yeah.
funny you should mention that. I also started a small YouTube channel. I just have put a few things from classes that I've done that I really liked. Like I did a full video about Nerf guns, and I did a Spy Kids trailer in the style of Jordan Peele's Us. That's probably my favorite video up there. If you want to see those, find me JClay, JAYCLAY on YouTube. Go subscribe to me there. Be very much appreciated. And yeah, I will, whenever my student film comes out, I will link that to help support everyone else who is on that. But yeah. John, what are you excited most about going forward? I don't think we got that.
Oh, that was my list.
Oh, the list?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm excited
fair
for my lists because my lists are good.
Okay.
I don't, all my numbers are right.
I'm excited.
If you argue with me, if you comment on one of my lists and say that something's wrong, die. Eat shit and die.
Yeah, the thing I think most excited about is just growing. We don't have far we can go from here, but the places we can go, I think, are pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'd really like to be 6'3".
That's definitely not what I was talking about, but just being in a new studio and whatnot, if it works for us, awesome. If not, we can evolve from there. But I think starting up here, we got a lot of places we can go from, and so that's definitely what I'm most excited about. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, that's definitely what I'm most excited about. Well, that's all. Thanks again for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time.